Kidversations, small voices, big stories.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kidversations. Today we have a really special guest, a U.S. veteran who served our country with honor and courage.
That's right. His name is Charles Branscomb, and he's going to tell us what life was like in the military and what it means to serve in our country. Hi, Mr. Branscomb. We're so happy to have you on our podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start to learn a little bit more about you. What branch of the military were you in?
It's an Army.
How old were you when you joined?
Signed when I was 17 and left when I was 18, right after my senior year of high school.
Why did you want to join the Army?
Honestly, back when I was that age, the goal was to get out of your house as quick as you can get out, and do your own thing. And that was the surefire job, plus I wanted to go into the Army, so.
Why did you pick the Army?
Jobs, you have what's called an MOS, where you take like they used to call it an ASVAB test, and it would tell you what you were eligible to take, given what education you had at that point. They had more to offer, so I took it.
What are the other branches in the military?
We have the Marine Corps, which is the men's department of the Navy. Then you have the Navy and the Air Force and also Coast Guard.
What is the difference between all those branches?
Some of it is like naturally Air Force, you're going to have more flight related. They still have engineers and things of that nature. There's a wide variety of jobs. Navy, of course, is centered around ships and water, things of that nature. Still a wide variety of jobs that you can choose from now. Marine Corps, more a fighting force, kind of all business type living. It's not centered as much around jobs. They do have several, but it's more of a fighting force type situation.
What was your job?
I started out as a combat engineer, which is more construction-related type stuff, support element for the military.
Did you have to go through special training?
Not really that special. I mean, a little bit of a school for, like, if you wanted to be an electrician, you would go after your basic training. You go to every how many week course. I think it was like 8 weeks back when I did it. And then you could be, whatever your job is requires a certain amount of weeks, but that's usually the training you'll get, unless you've had some prior to enlisting.
What was basic training like?
It's different. A lot of yelling, a lot of screaming in the very first, because they've got to kind of get you focused on attention to detail. So the slightest little thing, one person leaves their bed unmade or leaves their wall locker unsecured or doesn't have their towels hung up right, their boots aren't set up right, the whole barracks pays for it, and they trash everything. They will put it out in a big pile in the middle of the barracks, and you get to sort through it and find your own stuff and put it back up. But it's just to teach you attention to detail. They want everything a certain way. A lot of exercising, because they've got to get people, even like myself, I wasn't that great a shape when I went in, but you're in shape by then, the basic. Then you learn a lot, about just basic weapon. Back then it was the M16, now it's the M4, but it's a lot of training, but you build a lot of friendships up too. It kind of teaches you to count on other people and not trying to do stuff by yourself all the time. It's a way of building a camaraderie type thing.
Is it fun or hard?
Both. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. At the time, you think it's, just horrible, worst thing ever. But then once you're out, you're laughing about it, and
How long were you in the military for?
just a little over 24 years.
Do you like MREs?
MREs aren't bad. They're, that's, the main food you'll get or issued to you if you're in the field and there's not cooks and things available. But a lot of them aren't that bad anymore. They didn't start out all that great, but they perfected them now.
My grandpa likes them. One year for Christmas, we bought him a whole bag of them.
Right. They're not too bad these days.
How many missions have you been on?
As far as we really refer to it as deployments, but peacetime, we did a lot. As an engineer, you go to other countries and we would go to Central America, which is like Panama, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, and we'd build schools, drill wells, build clinics, things like that to help their communities. I done probably a dozen of those. And then as far as in the Middle East, I did Desert Storm back in the 90s, which wasn't, it was a deployment. It was different for us than it is like Iraq and Afghanistan were these days. But I also did Iraq and Afghanistan. So several.
How long did you have to be away each time?
The trips down, like when we were doing what we called humanitarian missions, Central America or Romania, it's usually, if you're on a staff type job, you'd be 6-8 months. If you were just doing a rotation, it's probably a month. For the combat deployments, Desert Storm was a little over a year. Iraq, when I was doing them, they were 18-month tours, and then they dropped it down. When I went to Afghanistan, they were just a 1-year tour.
I don't know if this is like the military that you go to, but I've heard that to go in the military, you have to be shot by a taser.
If you're carrying a taser, which would be like a military police or something along that line, where they may issue it to you, in order for you to carry it, be licensed on it, and use it on someone else, you've got to have it used on you first. Just so you know what you're doing to somebody.
What was the physical day like in the military?
Let's see. Start out in the mornings, get up probably 4:15, something like that. Be at PT with physical training. Then that's your normal calisthenic type exercises, push-ups, sit-ups, run, things like that. Then you'd go to breakfast. Now this is if you were living in garrison area on post type thing. Then you would generally report to wherever it is you worked at and where your equipment is. You would go check it out, make sure they do preventive maintenance or PMs. A lot of sitting around waiting to go do something, but it's a lot of inventorying your items to make sure you've got everything you need if you had to pack them up and take off with it, stuff like that. And then you, of course, have lunch and more of the same thing in the afternoons. Unless you're in the field, because sometimes you, instead of being in garrison or barracks all the time, you would end up in the field doing what your primary jobs are. It would camping out, we'll say. You have your own tents and setups, depending on what type of field exercise it is. You may be individually, you may, or paired with a buddy, your battle buddy, or you may be in a larger tent that has 6 or 8, 10, 12 people in it. other than that, it's just kind of a normal day job when you're stateside and not in the field.
Did you meet people all over the world?
Yes, you generally get to meet people where, especially, the humanitarian missions and stuff like that, you'd get to meet the local people. When we were deployed Iraq and Afghanistan, so there were some locals that you would deal with, interpreters. Some of the locations we stayed at, which were called FOBs, and each one of them's named after something, either named after a person sometimes or a location, a state, things like that. But they would come in and work and do different jobs for us there.
Were they nice to you?
Most of the ones that were working in the FOBs and stuff were pretty nice people. Our interpreters are pretty nice.
How do you stay connected to your family when you're far away?
Nowadays, it wouldn't be bad because you got the cell phones, you've got, easy internet access. We didn't, that really didn't come around till like 2006, 2000, where you could get on what was like Yahoo, I think it was, or AOL, something along that lines, where you could actually do a video chat. Earlier in time, there was satellite phones we used for a little while, but other than that, you would have to drive to a location where they had a military phone set up.
What did you miss the most when you got there?
It starts out, of course, you miss your family. And then the longer you're there, it's the little things. You start missing different types of food. Anything you would miss, if you just didn't have it,
Did people mail stuff to you?
Yes, you can get, we call them care packages, but usually on the deployments, you'll have an address that addresses the FOB or the base camp or whatever that you're at. And you can get stuff generally rather easily.
Did you become an officer?
No, I was it's a non-commissioned officer, which is enlisted, which is just a sergeant.
What is something about military life that people don't realize?
I would say it's the friendships and stuff like that you make. Whenever a deployment is over or whatever, depending on the length of time and who it is, a lot of times you'll have like a separation anxiety or whatever as you leave those people that you're so used to being around, and I guess the security that you have in that group. And then when you come home, you don't have that anymore. It's kind of, quiet. And the travel, I mean, there's a lot of fun involved in the military. I mean, when you're doing traveling and stuff like that, it's almost like you're just with a bunch of brothers and sisters that you would goof off with and get in trouble with. That's probably it's not something that the average person couldn't do. It's just some people do it, some people don't.
What's the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day?
Well, Veterans Day, it's like what's coming up is more to honor veterans that are alive and their service, current service, past service. Memorial Day is more for soldiers who have passed away either in combat, out of combat, just your buddies that you don't have anymore.
What's the best way for kids to show respect or gratitude to veterans?
I guess it starts out like showing respect for the flag when, at different ball games, events, a lot of times, a lot of that sort of stuff's getting pushed to the side anymore. But when we see people that actually respect that, let you know that people still care about it. And then a simple thank you. Someone's wearing something or an attire that singles them out as being military, that like I served or whatever, something obvious. Just a simple thank you. Some people, enjoy that. There's a lot of elderly veterans in places that don't have visitations and stuff like that from people. So just going by a place like that that'll let you speak to people, just going in and saying, hey, just a little bit of conversation, a little bit of attention.
What is something you're most proud of from your service?
Probably my friendships that I made. I've got several buddies I still talk to rather regularly. Pretty good experience that way. I mean, you've always got somebody's got common ground. You got issues going on or something you can just call and kind of chat with. That would probably be the main thing. Kind of enjoyed building the schools and stuff down in Central America. That was, you were helping people in that manner. The drilling the wells and stuff. People used to have to walk miles to get just a little bit of water. Now have a well to pump water right there where they live. So little things like that.
Did serving change how you see the world?
Yes. It's different outside the United States. There's a lot of people who, don't really understand what goes on outside the country and the differences there are, like the poverty sometimes in some of the places that you go to, like in Central America. I mean, we used to take a duffel bag full of dolls and crayons and coloring books and deflate soccer balls and air them back up when we got down there. And the kids they knew what they were. They just didn't have access to them. And so little things like that makes you kind of understand how well we have it in this country. There's a lot of people say, they hate living in America, but it's an easy country to get out of.
Would you recommend other people joining?
Yes, in ways. There's a lot of benefits to the military. It's not all camp or deploying. It's not all negative or all business. These days they do offer like bonuses to sign up. There's a lot of college money involved in that as well when you sign up. So you can use it as a stepping stone, to other things. But you got to understand that when you go in, before you earn those things, that if something were to happen and you had to deploy, you're actually there to be a soldier first. College and all that's a benefit, but it doesn't. I wouldn't enlist just for that, because you gotta be careful what you wish for sometimes, and you could end up in Iraq or Afghanistan, and all you wanted was to go to college.
What message would you like to share with young people today?
I would say learn history, because there's a lot going on right now that's already happened, and the result is already there. History will repeat itself if you let it, and it's not all positive. So, and get out and vote when you're able to, when you're old enough. But do your research. Don't just vote because somebody says they're going to give you something, because as soon as they're in office, they're not going to.
Thank you for being here today and sharing your story with us. Most of all, thank you for everything you've done for our country.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We're so grateful for all those men and women who served and protected our freedom.
And to everyone watching, thanks for joining us. And remember, thank a veteran this week.
We'll see you next time on Kidversations. Bye! Kidversations, small voices, big stories.